Welcome to the Jaron Jarvis channel. I am Jaron Jarvis. Today, I would like to introduce to you, I know why God doesn't speak to us anymore. We forget because we need to. Imagine going through life with a perfect catalogue of every word you ever wrote, every bite you ever ate. What about a lizard, though? Does it ever reach a point where it knows too much? Or does it remember every moment? I'm a theologian by trade. Or, as my husband calls it, a wannabe reverend. When I hit my crisis of faith in high school, I didn't fall out of the church, as many like me did. I fell further down the rabbit hole. My parents may have left me, but my father never would. God still loved me. He had to. I didn't make it far in divinity school. My area was hard-pressed to accept any homosexuals, let alone one delivering doctrine to them. Religious studies in a more coastal city was a more accepting area of study. I read the books, analyzed the artifacts. I made just about every pilgrimage I could. Beneath all the talk, there was a God. I was always sure. But who was right? What was God? I could never quite figure out my place. Study was too clinical for me. Worship? Well, what if it was wrong? I didn't want to be wrong. I slowly fell out from my fellow academics. They saw faith as something to understand. They didn't have any. I fell in with the artists. There I met Ezekiel. Zeke, he insists, but I love the original. Sometimes he lets me get away with it. I also fell in with the weird scientists. There were people who wanted to clone, people who wanted to upload themselves. People who thought that MKUltra didn't go far enough. I liked that last group. They had the best drugs. Drugs brought me closer to God. I saw glimpses in junk dreams, felt an embrace with ecstasy. That's how I got in contact with the true believers. I thought their name was presumptuous too when I first met them. How could they know? Who were they to say? They were a ragged group of false scientists who wanted to speak to God. Don't we all? I thought. Oh, they had a plan, however. They knew the right cocktail, the right voltage, the right amount of lost blood. And soon, I wanted to join. They had a job for me. I had the faith. I wasn't essential. I could speak to God first. They rigged me up, drained me and filled me, and I faded far from known waters. I heard God first. It sounded like our parents. My cruel mother, my friend's mother, the girls from high school who had gotten pregnant, all breathing and pronouncing together. And my father, his father, all together in a symphony. It was booming and weak like a trickle through the canyons of planets unknown. I cried. I must have hoped that my tears would get me noticed, but the breathing was never directed at me. Thankfully, words began to be shaped before I needed to prompt them. I understood them in my soul. Perhaps I wish I didn't. The voice strained. I'd heard something like it before. Michael? Oh, Michael, great that you came and good you are. I've been lonely. Loneliness, my new all. Have you found anything out there in the black, Michael? I'd heard it from my grandmother. It may be time to pronounce, Michael. I'm ill in the dark. Perhaps light will rise me. I'd visited her a last time before she passed. She didn't remember me. Create creatures in my image, Michael. Burn the dark away, start a world. Create life. The voice darkened. Michael? Why don't you visit me anymore? I was woken up with a defibrillator. The true believers were quick to ask what I'd seen. I lied. We were wrong. There was nothing. It had been like I was sleeping. I need to share with someone, though. We deserve to know our fate. Imagine how much there is for God to remember. Think of how much there is for God to forget.